few misconceptions about the VA loan. Number one, you can only use it one time. That's a lie. You can use it over and over and over and over again, depending on your limitation. So that's something to know. A lot of people don't know even how to find the limitation. That's for a different video, but you can use it over and over and over again. Number two, people don't realize that you can assume a VA loan. So for example, you may know someone that has a VA loan on a property at, let's say, 2%. They want to move, they want to sell the house, absolutely. You're a VA loan qualifier and you want to assume that loan at about the 2%. Great. You can then go through the process to assume that loan at the 2%. It's usually going to be maybe a little bit higher, but you don't have to go through a full underwriting process, a brand new loan application like a regular person has to go through, right? You're assuming the loan. Number three, these loans are government backed and they provide the ability to have zero down. Now, that's a zero down payment. That doesn't mean that you don't have to come with any money to the table at all. If you have a great realtor like myself, you can possibly walk away with having to come with absolutely nothing to the table. Like my last client, where we got $17,000 worth of concessions for him on buying his first property. Wealth while in the military does not need to be complex. These are the two things you need to focus on in order to build your wealth to make sure you can actually retire at 20 years. Because as we've seen, a lot of people are retiring out and they still have to work because they did not invest. So number one is going to be real estate. Great. Focus on real estate with your VA loan. It provides you shelter and it provides you equity over time that you can then pull money out as your own personal bank, right? So the moment you have access to BAH and you can route that shit and get off base, great. Use it as best as possible. You can buy a single family house and then house hack it like I did with some of the teammates of yours, right? Make some money off of that after a few years, and then you can level up to different other types of properties. Or when you PCS, you can buy another property with every PCS, or you can buy multiple properties in the same duty station. Number two is make sure to put money into your TSP/BRS, right? That retirement account. Put as much money as you can, max it out, and don't forget to also look at what fund is putting money into. You don't want to do the safest bet one. You do have to know kind of where we're at in the market and a little bit of information. I would definitely consult with a financial professional, but you can manage that yourself. Don't let a bunch of other people manage money for you because, right, you take all the risk, you can lose all your money, they can lose all your money for you, and you still pay them a small percentage. So between those two things, real estate and you're investing into stocks, you can then funnel all your money from your pay, all your paychecks while you're in service into those two things. And you may have another side business, but if we're just focusing on your military pay, that then pumps into real estate and pumps into your equities, which is your TSP, BRS, and stock market, right? And then by the time 20 years comes or 25 years, you're ready to retire, you have enough passive income coming in where you can do what you want and retire on your own terms. You're an E3, E4, E5 wanting to move off base and use your VA loan. Great. So number one, you need access to be able to move off base. So you need that authorization. Now, what I did was I moved off base. I bought a great home in a great area. Didn't really need much fixing on it. It was move-in ready, but it was a little outdated. Now that's exactly where I made a good margin because the home was outdated, but everything else in the area was appreciating, and comp-wise, everything else was updated at the time. So it was great room right there to make a little bit of margin with future updates. Now, how I made additional income was by house hacking, by renting out to a couple of my fellow teammates at the same time. With that, we did some renovations as well. We did renovations to the backyard, renovations to the kitchen, and some other light renovations that added value. Don't do any renovations that do not add value. Don't forget that. Then after a couple years, I think it was about 3 years, right? Because you have to, in a total of 5 years, if you live in the home for 2 out of the 5 years, there's a huge tax exemption. So then at the 3-year mark, I sold the home and made a profit on the sale while selling on my taxes. Don't forget that, right? So we want to make appreciation, but we also want to save on our expenses and taxes as best as possible. Then you can rinse and repeat that system using your VA loan again and again, over and over, to then get yourself to the point in life where you can start doing what you want, make this maybe full-time, your profession, or put it on the side and really just use it to pull money out of these properties in the future whenever you need it. 2 ways to get out of the barracks. I'm Mercedes, the Military Realtor, and let's talk about how to get out of the barracks. Now, most likely you're E3, E4, maybe E5 even watching this video. So we know the 2 main ways is, number 1, the barracks are full. If the barracks are full, they'll most likely let E4s start moving out the barracks, which is great because now you're authorized to get BAH, which is most likely needed for you to qualify to use your VA loan out in town. You can go move into apartments, something like that. Sure, a lot of people do that, but if you can swing it, buy a home right off the bat so you're not living in an apartment and having all this other stuff going on, most likely with roommates too. Number 2, you hit the high enough rank depending on where you're at, the base, the command, and stuff like that. Usually it's about E5, definitely E6, that you can then get authorization to put your chit in and get BAH, so then you can apply it towards your income and your debt to income ratio for your VA loan qualification. You use that BAH to then go buy your first home. If you have any questions, please send me a DM. I did this personally. I was in the service. I used my VA loan to buy my first house. Take care.